It had to happen.
21 and RPPFM rocks back into sport on the Mornington Peninsula and Frankston.
So all of a sudden the margin is back to 9 points in match again. 3 minutes.
Another major, and he walks up to the crowd and says, "How do you like that?"
This is where NPNFL RPPFM, the voice of Peninsula football.
Good morning and welcome to the RPP Punt Footy Show on this Saturday morning. Blue skies prevailing outside at the moment, but by God it's cold out there. Very, very chilly. Typical winter's day. Michael Voss here in the host chair this morning with no Adam Short past Kelly this morning nor this afternoon. Well, he'll be back next week, but I'm sure he'll be listening. I'm sure he'll be critiquing the show this morning and all that. But joining us to talk all things NPNFL football and something very close to his heart is the Frankston Dolphins Football Club, and that is Mick O'Neill. Good morning, Mick.
Morning, Vossy. Great to be here, and as you said, a great day for footy.
And joining us is a man who we didn't just put him in the opener today. He has been in the opener all year. The 200-plus gamer now from the Frankston YCW Football Club, Kyle Hutchinson. Good morning, Hutch.
Good morning, Vossy. It's good to be here.
And so last week, obviously, he's had a very good win. We'll get on to that in a minute. But a bit happening around the place, boys. Obviously, clearances have closed now, and there was a bit of a scoring controversy last week in the Coringal-Chelsea game. We'll talk a little bit about that later on. But it's your typical football weather today, boys.
Well, you're not going to get a much colder day. We sort of get into the depths of winter, and most years this is a time when winning becomes a challenge for footy teams, but it's that combination of the frosty weather and a bit of sun out there. So for you today, Kyle, a big game ahead, but what sort of conditions do you prefer as a footballer yourself?
Well, I must be getting old because it was very cold last week and I donned 2 jumpers, so I reckon I'll be doing that today again. But yeah, as long as there's no wind, I'm happy. So the wind's the worst conditions to have.
I'm sure you'll get a fine for wearing 2 jumpers.
Look, I'm sure he probably will too. But just when you're obviously playing the Bombers today, and it's the match of the TV Magic match of the day this afternoon. But when you played the Bombers a couple of years ago, it was a very, very ordinary day out there in terms of the weather. It was wet, it was muddy, it was everything that day, and it was very hard to score. And so you sort of seem to find these really cold days. You're going out to Frankston play some football, Kyle.
We always seem to play on really cold, wet, muddy days against Frankston Bombers. Same thing start of the year. I think third round wasn't even winter yet and it's still raining and cold. So I don't know what it is. It's just I think it's a tradition thing now. I think it's muddy every time. So
they're going along pretty well though, aren't they?
They are, yeah. I hear firsthand most things from their coach because the company I work for does a lot of work for the company he works for.
Mm-hmm.
So yesterday was fun at work. Bit of back and forth between us, but
any secrets given away?
I think enough, but not all of them. So,
what are you going to get tagged today? Or
apparently that's what he was saying. But then I told him I might not be playing today. So, just a bit of back and forth. But I think they're really starting to work themselves into the season, and they'll be hard to beat if they get pretty deep into the season finals time.
Just might touch on the results from last week actually, because it was a week where there wasn't a lot of it was a couple of close games, I suppose. Your boys, Kyle, last week had a great win, 7 points up at quarter time, 21 points up at half time, 36 at three-quarter time. Extended that lead to win by 51 points, 13-13, 91. Mount Eliza 6-4, 40. Troutbeck kicked 3 goals, as did Lambert. And for Mount Eliza, it was 3 to Burton and 3 to Mornay. That's a great win for you boys, because Mount Eliza, I suppose the last few years, I touched on it last week, Mount Eliza has been a team that has actually beaten you a couple of times at your own ground. So it's a really good win for your boys.
Yeah, they always seem to really stand up and play really good footy against us. And the start of the year, obviously, we had the draw, but that was a game of two halves. Really, they dominated us for the first half, and then we came out after half time and started playing some good football. And I think a draw was probably a good result for both teams. But they just bring really good effort against us, and especially at our ground. I remember a few years ago when Heasley was playing there, he kicked 4 in the first quarter and jumped us. And yeah, they're always pretty hard to play, and they really seem to play good at our ground. So,
how much of a difference is there between Cappy and Goons in terms of their coaching styles?
There is a difference, obviously, because of the different places they've been. So, Cappy came through as an assistant to Scott Mathers, who was an assistant to Bugs originally. So there was different messages, but a similar message, if that makes sense. There was always kind of relevant to what we've heard in a way. But then Gooch came in with a fresh voice, a fresh set of ideas. Obviously, a new coaching staff with Craig and a few others in there that have really just been really freshened the whole club up. So that's probably the only difference, just a different place of where they've got ideas from, really.
Paul had experience as a defensive coach at Frankston in 2019. He's obviously got a bit more of a defensive bent to his coaching, and I'd heard talk that you'd spent a lot of time working on your defence over the pre-season. He must be happy with how your defence is going, and particularly looking at keeping the Manalize at 6 goals last week. He'd be pleased with that.
Yeah, I think the way the footy's playing now, it's defence first, and if you can get that right, you can create offence from that. So, our offence is very solid at the moment, and they set up behind the ball really well, and it's our job to help to make their job up the ground. It's our job to kind of help them out and slow the ball down so that they can set up and take those intercept marks and then rebound the other way. So, yeah, it's been really solid for us.
In other results last week, Sorrento were in charge most of the day, actually. They were a goal in front at quarter time against Pines. They were 7 points up at half time, 22 up at three-quarter time, and you think they might have broken the game open, but Pines, to their credit, well done to the Pines Football Club on this one. 6 goals, 3 in the last quarter to Sorrento's 2 goals straight, and Pines turned a 22-point deficit into a 5-point victory, with Barfoot getting 4 goals and Guy Hendry getting 3, and for Sorrento, Brigden, who we normally see down in defence, getting the 3 goals. Now, you had a you've played. I think you've played Pines. Have you played Pines twice now?
We have played Pines twice.
Yeah, you played Pines twice, but you haven't played Sorrento. That was one of the weeks that we got locked down.
Yeah, that was the first week, and then we missed Bomb Beach the week after. So yeah, we haven't played them yet. So,
but in terms of that result, for a side that's sitting sort of down towards the bottom of the table, second bottom, away from home, difficult third quarter, to come back for them in the last quarter shows obviously a bit of ticker on their part.
I think it doesn't surprise me that they stepped up against Sorrento. It seems like they've created a little rivalry in the last few years, so I don't think that the Pines guys would mind playing Sorrento in those types of situations.
Yeah, I've got to say, when I was first week back, we went down to Rosebud. We saw Rosebud and Sorrento. It's a different looking Sorrento side. It really is. Obviously, maybe with a few injuries and a few blokes not playing for whatever reason, but it's a different looking side down there. But
Coach Paddy Swain very happy with how his young guys are coming along. Actually, so
he should. That's a great result for them to get the job done, considering they were so far behind at three-quarter time. And so one thing we noticed about them the first game, they were quite small, and obviously when you don't have Bo Hendry out there, Bo didn't play for a few games before he came in. I think it might have been against Sorrento the first time they played them, and they had to try and manufacture away against you guys, Cole, that night game, due to the fact that they were probably outsized a little bit, and obviously finding their feet a little bit, considering they'd lost so many players. But it just looks as though that they're, as Mick, you just said, they're on the right track, Pines. And Nick Boswell, I heard last night, he's not playing. He's apparently retired at the moment. That is some news there as well, just in regards to him. Apparently not enjoying his football, was what I was told last night. Dramana in their game against Rosebud. Dramana with 3 points down at quarter time, 1-1-7 to 4 behinds. Half time it was 4 points of difference in favour of Rosebud, 2 points in favour of Rosebud at 3/4 time. Dramana winning 7-11-53, Rosebud 7-7-49. Ethan Johnston getting 2 goals for the winners, and then Scowen Jai getting 3 goals for Rosebud. Rosebud has started the season off quite well, but obviously hit the wall with a few injuries. And as far as Dramana are concerned, well, Dramana, Kyle, have been up and down this year. They lost their first couple. They had a great win at Bomb Beach earlier on. Then they sort of hit the wall again, but now they've sort of started to come back. They've had 2 wins in the last 2 weeks, so they're just starting to hit a little bit of form and maybe a bit of a smoky to get into the 5.
Yeah, they're a dangerous side. They've got stars everywhere, so they've got dominant ruckman who really feeds their mids pretty well, and then their forward line, the small forwards, they're very dangerous, and as soon as the ball hits the ground, so you got to be careful with those guys down there.
The Frankston Bombers, big win last week over Edifal. 61 points was the margin, 22 up at quarter time, 32 at half time, 61 at 3/4 time, kicked 1 goal 7 in the last quarter, which would be frustrating for Beaumuston there, considering percentage could come into play at the end of the year. So 14-19, 103 beating Edifal 6-6-42. Corey Buchan kicked 3 goals for the winners there. In fact, they shared the goals around with 4 players actually kicking 3 goals, and Edifal didn't have a multiple goal scorer on the ground. Edifal, just before the bye, we had Ben Walker on last week, and he was saying that they'd sort of hit a little bit of form in terms of their momentum was starting to build before the break, but since the break sort of it helps some sides, it doesn't help other sides. The Bombers are obviously in great touch, but Edifal, I think he said, was it 7 players? I think the first game of the year they played against 7 new players, 7 new juniors, I think, or under 17, under 19 players, I think, the first round. So they're on a bit of a learning curve themselves, but just on the Bombers, where do you sort of see that you've got to? Obviously, we're going to talk more about the game shortly, but where do you see their strengths and where you've got to stop them today?
Their strengths are probably in a few different spots. So that you've got your clearance work with Harnett and Fox and Sutton, those types of guys in there that are getting fed down from Harry Pryor, who's one of the best ruckmen in the league, who get the ball in and kick it down Khan's throat, Corey's throat, and get dangerous. So I think the game's going to be won in the centre. If we can equal the work in there, or get on top, it'll go a long way to being successful at the end of the day. So that's the plan anyway.
And all the big guns for Frankston Bombers in good form. You see last week, Pryor, Fox, Haratuku, Alex Harnett's been dynamic as a goal-kicking midfielder this year. And could be when we get onto that game, there could be a nice little interesting match-up today, I think.
The YCW midfield against someone like Sam Fox, a former best and fairest winner himself. So the challenges don't get any easier, or they don't get much harder either in terms of a guy of his quality. But that's going to be a battle within the game today, this afternoon, no doubt about that. Bomb Beach had a very good win last week against Red Hill. Only one side's gone to Bomb Beach so far this year and got a win, and that was Dramana in round 3. Bomb Beach 35 up at quarter time, 41 up at half time, 75 up at 3/4 time, winning 13-16-94. Red Hill 4-7-31. Owen Hill that kicked 5 goals for the winners, and it was just single goal scorers for Red Hill. But as you touched on before, Kyle, you haven't played Bomb Beach yet, and that's obviously the 2 of the sides that sort of you guys and Bomb Beach, and I'm not discounting Mount Eliza, nor am I discounting Frankston Bombers in particular, but it's the two sides that everyone's sort of talking about, Bomb Beach, YCW, and you haven't played and you won't play for, I think, another few weeks.
We don't play until the last round of the year. I
There you
think
go.
Beach at Bomb Beach.
There you go. So, have you sort of caught much of them and sort of seeing their results and sort of looking at them a bit?
Seen the results, and they seem to win and win well if they've won. There hasn't been, not from memory, there've been many close games. So they obviously have some firepower with their forward line, and then their midfield is pretty stacked as well. So they're dangerous, and it's hard to gauge until we play them. But we're looking forward to that challenge in the last round, I guess.
Vossy, an interesting one. I think Bo Bailey, who's come back from Sandringham, I think he traditionally been a small forward. He moved up on the wing on the weekend and was dominant in kicking goals from the wing as well. So
he just adds to the quality of the Bomb Beach side. But interesting, Mick, when you consider that two of the top sides in Division 1 being Bomb Beach and YCW, and two of the top sides in Division 2 being Mornington and Langwarrin, both got locked down, both couldn't play each other, both not playing, or I think Mornington Langwarrin might be the second last round, and as Kyle just said, YC and Bomb Beach the last round. So there's some matchups we want to see, but we won't get to see them for another few weeks.
No, and if we think ahead, you think all those sides are going to stay on the winning platform. Would it be a really interesting last round to see if those sides are at the top of the ladder, how they go against each other, and even thinking ahead, do the coaches put all their cards on the table for the last round of the year, thinking they might meet in the final series? So there's plenty of interest ahead.
Long way to look ahead, Kyle, but hypothetically speaking, at the end of the year, you guys sort of are playing Bomb Beach for top spot going into the last game. With the weeks you've had off, does that obviously it stop-start season doesn't necessarily help, but in terms of having the week off, is it as important having the week off maybe going into, say, a second semi-final and having that first week of the finals off, considering we've had that sort of stop-start sort of nature of the season so far?
Yeah, it's hard to tell until you get to that moment. You might have several injuries that could obviously benefit the side of having that week off, or everyone's fit and firing and just wants to keep going. So I think the season being obviously not playing last year, it was a long pre-season for everyone. So you have the pre-season of last year into the season, and like we didn't play, but I think a lot of people were still training because it's the only thing you could really do. And then you go through another pre-season into this season. So it's been a long time. So that week might actually help a lot of sides, just because it's been such a long journey to get to that stage.
The ladder sees YCW on top, 6 points clear of Bomb Beach, 34 points. The Stone Cats haven't lost a game. The only non-win they had was a draw against Mount Eliza in round 2. Bomb Beach on 28, 7-2. Mount Eliza on 26 in third. Frankston Bombers in fourth on 24, so only half a game behind Mount Eliza in that respect. Rosebud on 16 points in fifth, and then Dramana, who all of a sudden those 2 wins in a row has pushed them up within less than 1.5% of fifth spot. Sorrento probably look as though that it sort of dropped off the pace a little bit the last couple of weeks, losing since they've come back, so they need to get some players back if they're going to be in contention for that fifth spot, but they're still only a game behind, so it's still certainly mathematically possible. Red Hill on 12, Pines on 8, and Edithvale Aspendale on 4 points. We might take a break here on the Toe Punt Footy Show. We'll be back and we'll talk about some games of football heading into this afternoon's freezing cold weather. You're listening and watching the RPPFM Footy Show. Back soon.
Do you feel good about your bank? Because there is a bank you can feel good about. They share their profits to fund big community projects, small community clubs, and vital emergency services. They've given $250 million to help Australian communities thrive. They have all the products and tech you expect from a big bank, with service you don't. It's Bendigo Bank. Feel good about who you bank with. Try Bendigo. Search bendigobank.com.au or search Bendigo Bank near me.
More and more people with a taste for quality are shopping at Eliza Meats. Kevin and his lean team pride themselves on the finest cuts, from juicy steaks and roasts to high-grade mince and sausages. And Eliza Meats are the gourmet specialists. Inquire about Eliza Meats Spit Hire. Phone 9787 4473 for a mouth-watering meal fit for a king. It's all at Eliza Meats. See our sponsor Kevin at Eliza Meats, 112B Mount Eliza Way, a station sponsor.
Brighton Auto is your Bayside and Peninsula automotive one-stop shop. This all-in-one award-winning Mitsubishi, MG and SsangYong dealership is also offering Holden certified parts and service. They have a huge range of new, demo and used vehicles plus factory-trained service technicians. Your proud RPPFM station sponsor, Brighton Auto, will also ensure your dream car is well within reach and kept in great hands. Why not visit brightonauto.com.au or find them at 67 Nepean Highway, Elstonwick, LMCT 10680.
Ooh, the Frankston boys are happy.
The new VFL competition is here. Hi, I'm Josh Newman, club captain at the Frankston Football Club. It's time to become a member for season 2021. Come and be a part of it as we join this new and highly competitive 22-team VFL competition. Take out a membership today and support Frankston and the Peninsula's premier standalone AFL team. We're pumped up and ready to play. Visit our website at www.frankstonfc.com.au today. Frankston Football Club, a station sponsor.
Last week on Scrambled Eggs, this happened.
I think ours was better than yours, John.
No, you need the toilet roll thing. That's what they're called. That's what happens when you run out of the toilet paper. That becomes a do. So, don't you do that every time? No, no one does. Surely. You just take it off and you go, and then you put the new one on. So tune in every Wednesday and Thursday, 6 o'clock till 9. Scrambled Eggs. Love it.
Welcome back to the Toe Punt RPP Footy Show, and we're going to be joined shortly by Nathan Harris talking AFL Junior Interleague coming up, I think this weekend, so he'll be joining us shortly. We've also got Brad Wiggy Kanavan to talk to us in regards to Division 2 at Somerville, but I suppose what better way to start than the TV Magic match of the day this afternoon. It is Frankston Bombers versus Frankston YCW, and I'm just looking at the list here. I think 23 on your list there, Kyle, at the moment in the selected group.
Yeah, I don't really remember what selection it was on Thursday.
Yeah, 20. By the look of it, 20,
your own name.
20,
Yeah,
23.
make sure you get a game, and I know Kev celebrates every time his name gets read out.
Now, Kev Lilac, of course, yeah. No, Kev used to come in here, a bit of a drive-by, but he'd be in here at 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning, netball girls. He was always in with the netball girls having a chat. He loved it.
Yeah, he's probably going to be pretty jealous I'm here today.
This time of year, Kev sort of lets the hair go a little bit, doesn't he? And he gets that dishevelled sort of look and then tidies up for finals. Is he heading down that path?
I think he's cut his hair. He's gone with the long locks now, but he was going through a stage where he wasn't doing anything with his hair, and he thought he was playing good footy because he was not doing anything with his hair. And then he played a good game when he did his hair, so now he's doing his hair. So he's all over the place at the moment.
Fourth place Bombers, first place YCW. It really is a great game of football in prospect this afternoon, Mick.
Yeah, and as I mentioned earlier, I think there's battles at all areas of the ground. We always talk about midfields is where the game is won and lost, and both these sides have loaded midfields. I'm really interested in two guys that are good mates that are a chance to go head-to-head, and they've been very good for either side, and that's Blake Mullane and Alex Harnett. I think that could be a salivating one-on-one contest, and it wouldn't surprise me if both of those players have gone to their coach this week with this express request to go head-to-head. Both can get plenty of the footy, both can hit the scoreboard, and are both are fairly charismatic and quite entertaining players as well. So, Kyle, I'm interested in hearing from you. Blake Mullane's new to the club this year, what sort of impacts he had on field, and how off fields, how's his humour and the like fitting in?
He's really warming into the being very comfortable around the club now. Last week he had a bit of a running joke all week, and the boys loved it. But on field, he's just bringing that just a bit of class. He's come from obviously a pretty high level of football, where he's been captain of Frankston, and he's brought a real professionalism to the club with obviously a bunch of fresh ideas as a midfield group. So he's brought a good freshness to the club, and the boys love him.
What about the likes of obvious this year? BJ Credlin's one that obviously hasn't got the commitments in terms of playing VFL. What about Lockie Wallace? Is he for you guys full time this year? Or has he still got VFL commitments himself?
No, he's been full time, I think, from the last season as well. So he's been out for a couple of years, and BJ obviously, I think he would have played last year at Richmond if it went ahead. But obviously that year off, I think he started his own business. He's got a lot going on now that it's probably not as committed to that VFL level, which you have to be. But we're stoked to have him back full time. He's obviously a star of the competition, so we're stoked to have him back.
Obviously, everyone in the same boat in terms of being in lockdown for a couple of weeks, and you miss training and all that sort of stuff. But how's the body sort of shaping up at the moment, considering you've had the time off? It's been a bit of a stop-start season. You're just starting to get into the season. You're locked down for a couple of weeks. You come back. Body holding up all right?
I actually got out of Victoria the day before lockdown. I was at work, called the missus, and we got a flight out about 3 hours later to Queensland. So I went up to the Whitsundays for 3 weeks while lockdown was on, and then came back the day before it all finished. So my body's going all right at the moment. And
so if your form holds up, that means that you've set sort of like a blueprint for footballers for the future. So
there's nothing wrong with getting out for a couple of weeks through the winter months. So.
Well, that's my.
With Sunday's pre-season, I like it. 2
weeks tomorrow, I'm supposed to be flying to the Gold Coast for 11 days. So hopefully I can get out this time. The idea of going away in winter time, going away to a warmer climate, rings bells with me. I tell you, it's great. But Mick, who's your tip in this game?
I'm going for an upset in this one. I think it's really important for Frankston Bombers to get the win and stay in touch with the top three, and I think their midfield will be ready and raring to go. So I think in a really tight game today, with a clash of a lot of class across the field, I think the Frankston Bombers in a very tight one. I can't go past. I can't. Crago's laughing because Crago knows why I'm laughing, because if Suss was in here, he'd be saying I've got the membership for the Stone Cats and all that sort of stuff. But no, a lot of respect for your club, Kyle, and I reckon you'll get the job done today. If the Bombers can get the job done today, then they'll step up in other people's expectations, because not only will they have beaten YCW, but not only have they beaten Bomb Beach, but they would have beaten YCW today if they can do it. So it's a really, really fascinating game. I think it's going to be very close, though. I really do. Tremarna playing Bomb Beach. Tremarna all of a sudden have hit a little bit of form. They got the win against Bomb Beach earlier in the year. I think Bomb Beach will be sort of champing at the bit to have a bit of a rematch with them, considering what happened earlier in the year. They lost by only a few points, but probably after two good wins, and you can test yourself against one of the higher sides, but in another way as well, you'd sort of like maybe a bit of a easier game than what Bomb Beach might offer. But this will be another good game, boys. Yeah, and I think Bomb Beach are going to win this game, but as you said, Vossy, Tremarna are progressing and heading in the right direction, and you can't discount the fact that they're playing at home and they'll have great support down there, as they always do. But I think Bomb Beach will probably just have an edge in talent across the ground and probably a bit more potent up forward.
Thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think, it's hard to tell. I haven't seen Bomb Beach play yet, but from what it looks like, it'll be pretty hard for them to... pretty hard for Tremarna to knock them off. Even though it is down there, I think they'll probably be too strong.
Yeah, I think Bomb Beach will get the job done there. Mount Eliza playing Red Hill. Important game, this one for Mount Eliza. They lost earlier in the year to Red Hill in a low-scoring game. It was actually the day we were broadcasting at Arden Street, this one, Mick, and the Red Hill side won the second half at Portsmouth Rain. I think it was 4 goals 10 to about 4-7 or something in the game. But Mount Eliza coming off coming off probably their worst display for the year, I suppose, last week. They'll be championing at the bit. What did you make of Mount Eliza? Just slightly off a little bit last week, Kyle? Or?
I think our pressure at the ball was where it was won. So we won the ball, and were able to spread from the clearance probably better than them on the day, and that just meant that we kept the ball in our forward half, and they didn't really get many opportunities to score. So that's why I think the scores were so different with them only having six goals, was it?
Yeah, 6.
We just kept the ball in our forward half and kept possession for a lot of the day.
You would think it would have been a pretty sharp week on the track for Mount Eliza. That they'll want to bounce back and bounce back quickly. Did I see during the week that Louis Pearce has formally retired?
Yeah, it looks like it. Concussion, and so obviously it's one of those things. You sort of you want to continue with your love, and he's obviously come back from St Kilda. Did he play a couple of games in the AFL? Or
5 he played.
Yeah. Played 5.
Yep.
There you go. I told him short on a couple. I was thinking it might be a couple, but 5. There you go. But yeah, coming back to his home club, and unfortunately for him, it's a sad end. If in fact he doesn't decide to come back, maybe down the track. But yeah, concussion. Obviously, you got a love of football, but you've also got your family and your health to think of as well. So good luck to Louis Pearce, and hopefully his life goes well from here. Yeah,
and obviously being conservative, and that's the right decision. It does take away from Mount Eliza the potential of that twin towers of Louis Pearce and Jeremy Goddard as the two big. So Goddard will probably ruck solo, I would think, and we'll have some impact. But I think Mount Eliza will get over the line today, Vossy.
I think they will too. Kyle, your tip?
I think Mount Eliza will be too strong.
Rosebud versus Pines. Pines have got the double trip down the southern end of the peninsula. Sorrento last week, Rosebud this week. This will be a good game, boys. Pines obviously looking forward to getting out there again after having such a great finish and getting the job done in the end last week over Sorrento. And Rosebud, well, like I said, Rosebud have just sort of had players out. They've had a few injuries, but they just fell short last week. But down at the Olympic Oval, this will be no walk in the park for Rosebud. I think Rosebud might win, but I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park, boys.
No, I don't think so either. And I really rate Paddy Swain's ability as a coach, and they would have got some great momentum and confidence for their team out of last week's win. And what I like seeing is their senior players stood up, and that'll probably be the critical factor today. I think it wouldn't be a surprise if Pines got up today, Vossy.
It wouldn't surprise me in the least if Pines got up. Your thoughts on this one, Kyle?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either, but I think Rosebud will be too strong. I think they've got too many game winners overall compared to Pines at this stage. So,
and probably a little bit to play for in terms of the fact that assuming Bomb Beach beat Dramana today, if Rosebud win, Rosebud will go a game clear in 5th spot. So it's probably a little bit of extra incentive, if you like, in that one. The final game is the longest trip in football for these two sides. It's Edithvale Aspendale versus Sorrento. It's a trip that I know Sorrento don't like making. It's a trip that probably Edithvale don't like making down the other way. But it's certainly it's a game that if Edithvale can find their lockdown form from that last sort of 3 or 4 weeks, they're not without a chance this afternoon.
Yeah, and again on their home deck, that always adds a little bit. You think Sorrento also, off the disappointment of last week, would have had a fairly sharp week on the track, and they'll be looking to respond. And I think everything points to Sorrento having a win, but it'd be good to see Eddie As put up a strong fight.
Yeah, look, I heard from Ben Walker last week. He sort of spoke about the young players that they're playing and all that sort of stuff. And it's an opportunity for them this afternoon. They'll think they can really throw it up to Sorrento. I'm sure they'll believe they can win today. And Sorrento will be fuming after throwing away a 4-goal lead last week, and in doing so may have made it very hard for them to get into the finals. They're obviously only a game back, but
Vossy, after the other night seeing Gold Coast knock off Richmond, I don't think there's anything is possible in football now.
Wasn't that such a good? I feel cleansed this morning. I'm looking at the camera. I feel cleansed this morning. Richmond got beaten. It's fantastic. It's great for AFL football. All the Richmond supporters have gone into hiding. You're not a Richmond supporter, are you?
No, they killed my multi though. That's really annoying.
But they play Collingwood next week. But GWS have got the opportunity today, but probably won't take it in terms of getting into the top 8 with a win over Melbourne this afternoon. Getting off track here. AFL Sorrento, your thoughts, Kyle?
I wouldn't be surprised if AFL beat Sorrento. I think with Pines beating Sorrento, they've got a scalp other than AFL for that last spot that looks to be between a couple. So I think Edie would be really needing a scalp, but I think Sorrento would probably be too strong in the end.
Just back onto your boys for a minute, just before we let you go. Obviously, you've had a bit of success down at the Stone Cats over your time down there. Is with the new coach and all that with Goons? Is it something that you sort of look at and you're sort of starting to feel a sort of a familiarity in terms of how you're going and how you're looking in terms of what in successful in other years?
There's elements of previous years that you can compare. So. When I first started, I was one of the younger guys playing with guys that were senior players, like your Ben Tallises and Hackett and these types of guys that have been around for a while. And
now Nan Curvis.
Yeah, Nan Curvis, but he just didn't age, that guy. But yeah, then now I'm one of the older senior players, and those young guys are starting to come through with momentum like we did a few years ago. So there's that comparison that's very similar. And with those young guys, they just bring energy and excitement, and you can see when they play that they play with that, and that is contagious through the older guys. It's it really gets you up and about when the game starts, because you can see how energised they are.
Now, I think going back to round 1, I'm pretty sure Byron Barry went without his famous sort of goatee there at the time, didn't he?
Byron's different. Like, if you went through back all the years, he has a different look every year, and he has a different diet every year, and he has something different every year. So I don't even know where he's at these days. I think he eats meat the night before. I don't even know. Bone broth. He's got all sorts of stuff that he does. So yeah, he's an interesting cat, that one.
And it's been good to see Luke Painter getting back on the field. He's had a wretched run with injury, and it's great to see him getting some game time this year.
Yeah, he's been very unlucky over the last couple of years after coming on the scene and playing really good football in his first year. So, as long as he keeps that, I think he's been training. When he was training at Collingwood, he kind of started training as a half-back, so he's got that to his game now, so he's kind of can play both ends of the ground, and he's going to be really important for us at the end of the year.
Kyle, thank you very much for joining us in the studio this morning, and good luck to the Stone Cats for this afternoon for the rest of the 2021 season.
Thanks, Vossy.
We'll take a break. We'll be back shortly on the RPP Punt Footy Show.
There's no doubt everyone is feeling impacted in some way by coronavirus. From work-life disruptions to financial stress, our days look very different. It's normal to be feeling a little overwhelmed or perhaps completely out of your depth. That's why Beyond Blue has developed the Coronavirus Mental Wellbeing Support Service. It's free and available 24/7. So if you're feeling unsure about how to cope, chat to one of our expert counsellors by calling 1800 512 348 or visit coronavirus.beyondblue.org.au.
A station sponsor.
How often should you wash your hands?
Maybe around 9 times a day. 4?
Like 20?
Maybe twice a day.
Whenever they feel dirty.
When should you wash your hands?
after you touch some raw meat, and before starting to eat. At the beginning, I wash my hands before preparing food.
How would you rate your knowledge of food safety?
Probably like an 8 out of 10.
6 or 7.
7.5. Learn more at foodsafety.asn.au/food safety training. Food safety, it's in your hands.
A station sponsor.
Discover the fresh new look at Woolworths Kringle Hub. We're excited to showcase our new fresh food market bursting with delicious fruit and veg. Plus, check out our new in-store bakery. Head down to the new look Woolworths Kringle Hub today. Station sponsor.
Do you feel good about your bank? Because there is a bank you can feel good about. They share their profits to fund big community projects, small community clubs, and vital emergency services. They've given $250 million to help Australian communities thrive. They have all the products and tech you expect from a big bank, with service you don't. It's Bendigo Bank. Feel good about who you bank with. Try Bendigo. Search bendigobank.com.au or search Bendigo Bank near me.
Do you have TV antenna or reception issues? Need to wall mount your TV or want extra TV or data points? Then talk to TV Magic, Frankston and the Peninsula. TV Magic are your local TV and antenna specialists. We look after everything: TV, home theatre, satellite, plus all electrical work. Visit us at tvmagic.com.au or contact Clint for a free quote on 0484 395 555. TV Magic. We make all your TV problems disappear. A station sponsor.
G'day, this is Chris Bolam, the Mayor of Frankston City, with an important message. Getting vaccinated against COVID-19 is the best way of protecting yourself, your loved ones, and your local community. It's very important to be vaccinated as soon as it's your turn. To check eligibility and to make a booking for your COVID-19 vaccine, please call 1800 675 398 or go online to health.gov.au or contact your local GP. For information on vaccination centres accepting walk-ins, visit coronavirus.vic.gov.au. Thank you very much and stay safe.
A station sponsor.
More and more people with a taste for quality are shopping at Eliza Meats. Kevin and his lean team pride themselves on the finest cuts, from juicy steaks and roasts to high-grade mince and sausages. And Eliza Meats are the gourmet specialists. Inquire about Eliza Meats Spit Hire. Phone 9787 4473 for a mouth-watering meal fit for a king. It's all at Eliza Meats. See our sponsor Kevin at Eliza Meats, 112B Mount Eliza Way, a station sponsor.
News, music, sport, podcasts, interviews, the arts, all day, events, every day. Specials, live streams, sponsors, news, music, sport, RPPFM, interviews, the arts, events, specials, live streams, your eyes and ears on the peninsula. Music, sport, podcasts, interviews, and much more. To access RPPV, visit our website rppv.com.au or download the RPP app.
And welcome back to the Toe Punt RPP Footy Show, live here on the Saturday morning. We've spoken to Kyle Hutchinson from the Frankston YCW Football Club. Joining us in the studio now is the Somerville coach talking Division 2, Brad Wiggy Kanavan. Morning, Wig.
Hey, Vossy, how are you, buddy?
Going very well. Now, two things I wanted to touch off with you first. Last week, true or false, you gave the boys a fair rev up on the Thursday night before the Lang Warren game. Is that right?
Yeah, we had some bit of banter there out in the cricket pitch.
Yeah,
okay. It was. I just wasn't happy with the warm up, the attitude. So they got a fair rip.
Apparently, there was a few expletives in there.
I let a few go.
You've got to get your message across, Vossy.
Yeah, let a few go, mate. So I'm not sure that was why we won on Saturday, but I needed it and they needed it.
We'll get onto your great win shortly. But I also wanted to touch base. I've been told to ask you about your punting group. Apparently, you're the only one who hasn't had a collect in 18 months.
Has Plummer been on the phone to you, has he?
He messaged me last night.
Did he? That cheeky bugger. Yeah, no, I'm putrid at the moment. So I was in the car then with Corey, my assistant coach, and he said, "Oh, we're having a punt." And I said, "No, I'm not even looking at it. I'm that bad at it." I went to have a punt yesterday. Yep, $10. I'll have $10 on Ollie's thing at Geelong, and there was a technical issue with the tab, and it won. So I was like, "No more punting for the moment." Terrible.
Actually, we'll touch on your game first, and we'll get on to some other news as well. But last week, it was up against the in-form and undefeated Langwarrin side. 2 points up at quarter time. Somerville 6 points up at half time. 11 at three-quarter time, winning by 18 points. Lockie Dobson, the new boy, 3 goals. McDonald also kicking 3. Gillis kicking 3, and for Langwarrin in their goals, Zach Angeratha, Mark Bagley both kicked 2 goals. What was the key behind the win last week? Obviously, Nick Mason was voted as BOG. He was fantastic last week for you boys. But in terms of the actual attitude and going out there and coming up against a side that's undefeated, how'd you go about it?
Well, I think it probably started the Saturday after Seaford. We had a bit of a chat in the rooms and just explored a few things. There was a bit of, the non-listening at three-quarter time, I guess, against Seaford was disappointing from our playing group and at half-time. So after the game against Seaford, we had a bit of a chat there. But in the end, it was very player-driven. I know Luke Burton and Kay McKenzie, our co-captains, really pushed it on their little players page about responding to that disappointing loss at Seaford. So I guess there was the rip on Thursday, and that probably may have sparked them up a bit, and then they've taken that on board, which is what good sides do or good players do. Rolled it in and said, "No, boys, we need to step up." So, and then obviously some tactical things that we wanted to do. Somerville's grounds are smaller than Langy. We know that Langy liked the space, so we wanted to try and close that down on them. And then probably most importantly, the guys who we gave jobs to or matchups completed those roles pretty successfully. Didn't win them all, but we felt that we got a lot more 50-50s. And we were able to get repeat stoppages and basically just sort of slow Langy's link-up play and slow their running capacity down on our smaller ground.
It's funny because the game before lockdown, Langwarrin played Rye, and we had that game. And Rye, even though I don't think they were ever in front in the game, but they were beaten by 8 or 9 goals in the end. But Rye, you touched on closing down the space. Well, Rye did that very much so, and made it hard for Langwarrin that day. And obviously, you touched on that as well. So instead of getting sort of 2 or 3 kicks into their forward line, it was sort of taking them a lot longer to get into the forward line. Whilst it's a great win for your boys, it could also await the Giant too. That's the other thing, because it's a two-way street, I guess. But it's a fantastic win for your boys. I'm not selling that short at all. It's a great win by your boys.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we really needed that, and it's given us a nice little kick along. We need to back that up today down at Rye, who we lost to in round 3. And funny you say that, Vossy. I did say to Beardy after the game, I said that could be a helpful loss, just coach to coach. But, I've been in that experience myself in 2017. I was 12 zip at Chelsea Heights, and then we lost one, and that sort of sparked the boys up. And then we actually lost another one. So we finished 16-2 that year, but it helped propel us into the finals because that little bit of invincibility that we thought we had got knocked off, and then we went back to the drawing board and improved some areas of your game. So, yeah, in its own strange way, it'll probably help Langwarrin.
Paul Fermanus, where's he at the moment?
Yeah, he plays today.
Okay.
Yeah, he just had this niggling hamstring from early in the year. Played against Seaford, got a knock, and it flared up. And we just decided that last week it was, silly to play him with that. So he trained this week. He'd missed 4 games in 12 years of footy or 13 years of footy, and he literally didn't even know what a physio was. And it was like, mate, here's a number, call this guy, he will help you out. So that's been a process, getting Paulie back to get to a physio and getting him back on the field. So back today, which is good, gives our group a lift.
You had a really even contribution last week, and it was pretty obvious early that you were competitive.
Yeah.
And you ended up winning each of the quarters, albeit by a goal or so.
Yeah.
That must be a sort of blueprint for how you're looking the back half of the season to go.
Yeah, the script flip, I guess, from Seaford. I think I said to them at half time, I'm currently coaching 22 individuals. But last week it was a genuine team effort. I think what you're saying is everyone made a contribution, played their role, knew their role, played their role. And I know it sounds cliche, but that's how simple it is. And it just brought the team together.
And we were talking off air, sorry, Vossy, to interrupt, a player I've had a little bit to do in Lockie Williams.
Yep.
He's a guy that appears mature sort of beyond his years and potentially a guy that will coach further down the track. He seems to have fitted in seamlessly back at his home club.
Yeah, look, obviously a great getting to get Lockie back to the club for starters, and he's worn he didn't want a leadership or title. He just wanted to come back in and enjoy that, and we actually got him back into as a playing assistant coach. So during the pre-season, he took that role on. He's part of our Tuesday night recovery coaching staff. On this Tuesday night, just gone, he actually took the footage and went through the one-on-ones. The footage with all the players, so just a great get for our club. Very mature, just a sensible guy, and an outstanding footballer. We haven't been able to play him exactly how we wanted to this year with the injuries in the middle. So his form pre-COVID was quite electric, and I think he had 10 or 12 touches in the first quarter on Saturday and about 5 tackles, and then got a split under the knee. So. Yeah, we touch and go for today.
And what about the inclusion of Lockie Dobson into your side? Basically, gives you an extra target up forward. It's a different look for you boys now.
Yeah, well, the forward line has probably been our area of weakness all year. I mean, it's been Sammy McDonald pretty much played centre half forward all year, undersized, and done some second rucking, and the G-man obviously playing out of full forward. They've carried the load all year, and look, they've done a tremendous job, and it's just been great to get Sedgy back in, fit. He's finally got his body right, and then after Seaford, it was strange. Lockie texted me on the Sunday, messaged me on the Sunday and said, I'm finished down the bush, I'm just can't do the travel and can't get down there, can you get me a clearance to Somerville? And yeah, he was a good in for us obviously last week, but he's got to back it up this week, so it just gives our forward line some more flexibility and some more potency.
Now, getting on to the other results, this is where the controversy sort of starts last week. Coringal and Chelsea, it was at level at quarter time, 23 up Coringal at half time, level at three-quarter time, level in the end, 9-7-61 each of two. But if you go back over the footage, Coringal say they should be awarded the 4 points. What do you sort of heard about this week? You heard much about this?
Oh, I ran into a Chelsea person yesterday, Vossy, because I live down that way, and that Chelsea person thought the result should stand based on the fact that the umpire, the scoring throughout the day suggested that
the goal umpires had waved it off.
They'd waved it off, and it's a really tricky one. It's
an interesting one for obviously as a coach, you do your review and you're looking for bits of play and things that can improve. I can't imagine too many times a coach has done a review and identified they think they've won the game when they were actually awarded a draw.
Was it? I think Premier Data were the ones who noticed it.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, because they do the data, they do the stats, and then they obviously go through it all and went, hang on a second, what's happened here?
It's an interesting one. The only thing I can sort of relate to something like this was that St Kilda Freo game in Tassie many years ago when the siren went. They didn't hear the siren, and St Kilda kicked a point and then kicked another point or something afterwards to try and, or actually no, it was a point, then they got awarded another kick and ended up a draw.
Baker,
that one. So that's the only thing I could sort of relate this to. I don't think it's going to get. I don't think it'll get overturned. So both sides will end up with 2 points there. But two very, very evenly matched sides. Devon Meadows had a good win last week. 5 points up at quarter time, 11 up at half time, 24 up at three-quarter time, winning by 36 points. Murphy kicked 4 goals. Kirkwood and Hillis kicked 3 for Devon Meadows. Kirkwood kicked 2. Hughes and Allen kicked 2 each. The news, obviously, of the week, Neil Craig has decided, the coach of Devon Meadows, at the end of the year will be his last game in charge of the Devon Meadows Football Club. One of the real good men in football week is Neil.
Top fellow, really good fellow. He just honest and just no bells and whistles, just down the line, and good character.
It's a good win for them, considering Devon Meadows' draw on the way home isn't easy. They've played Langwarrin once and they play them again after lockdown. So That's a good win for them to get a 36-point margin. I think that puts them in fifth. We'll go through the ladder in a minute. Pearsdale defeating Crib Point by 2 points. Pearsdale up by 19 at quarter time, 20 at half time. 10 at half time, 9 at three-quarter time, and 9-8-62 to 9-6-60 was the win there, with Shepherd kicking 4 goals for Crib Point and Frawley and Daniel kicking 2 goals each for Pearsdale. Boris has got Pearsdale going pretty well at the moment, hasn't he?
Yeah, Boris is a good coach. He was at Frankston as an assistant when I was there as well. So he's got some good grounding there. He's been in the game for a long time. So he was a really good choice by Pearsdale to come in and help rebuild that list. And there's some genuine talent there. So he's doing a fine job. And Seaford and Mornington, this was the TV Magic match of the day last week. Seaford up by 19 at quarter time, 10 shots to 1, should have been so much further in front. It was an amazing turnaround in this one when you consider that Mornington, when they got the ball in their forward line in the first quarter, Seaford were running it out so easy, and then the first probably 5 minutes of the second quarter, Mornington ticked 2 goals as a result of turnovers through pressure on the Seaford defence, and Mornington kicking 7 goals to nothing in the second quarter, or 4 points, and then another 5 goals to 6 behinds in the last quarter. Seaford did not score to the old scoreboard end at all in that, did not score a goal at all in that game to that end. Mornington winning 15-9-99 to Seaford 7-21-63. That puts Mornington into second spot on the ladder and puts Seaford back to third. I think you guys are a game behind. Yeah. So we're trying to chase them down, Vossy.
Bit of a celebration there last week too, wasn't it, with the new facility?
It was a really fantastic facility.
They've only got one issue down there, haven't they? Parking?
Yeah.
It's magnificent.
That's the issue. But literally, Craig and I were both there last week. We both parked in the car park at the train station. Literally, 2 minutes down the road and you're there. So it's not a major catastrophe, but it's not ideal, but it's not a major catastrophe either, and you've got plenty of parking down there at the moment.
They've built a nice hill over in one of the pockets there for the reserves boys get over on the hill in one of those pockets.
It was a decent crowd there last week.
A couple more metres length on the ground, isn't there, Vossy?
There is, and
I used to have shots. I used to play full back. I used to have shots from full back in the old days.
With a big howling wind, you could probably get it to about 3/4 of the way down.
Go back and go, boys. I'm going twirly 80 here.
But a good win for Mornington last week. We've touched on the Somerville game. I think we've covered all of them except this one. Hastings and Tyab. Hastings up by 16 at quarter time. Scores level at half time, 3-5 each. Second half, Hastings 5 goals to 0 on the third quarter. Both sides goals in the last quarter. Hastings winning 8-9-57. Tyab 3-8-26. All single goal kickers for Tyab, and actually all single goal kickers for Hastings in that one, which leaves the ladder looking like this after last week's play. Langwarren on 36 points. They're 9 wins and a loss. Percentage of 207.5. So basically 2 games clear of Mornington in second, even though it's only a game on points. Mornington 143.05, 32 points. Seaford 148.83 on 28 points. Somerville 129.17 on 24. Devon Meadows also on 24, but a mile back on percentage, 34%. Chelsea in 6th on 22. Hastings on 20. Rye on 20. Karingal on 18. And also Pearsdale on 12. Crib Point on 4. Tyab on 0. Actually, just looking at your percentage week, 129.17, and I guess you've had some games this year where you've been very inaccurate in front of goal.
Yes, Ryan Gillis, are you listening? Paul Fermanis, are you listening? Horrendous. Don't get me started, Vossy. I don't get it. 30 metres out directly in front, and they're just putting them everywhere. So it could be costly for us, but the other thing is that I think some of the games that we lost, the margins haven't been significant, that it hasn't dented our percentage too much, but it's handy to have, keep your percentage ticking in the right direction.
And things are tightening up on that ladder.
Yeah.
Vossy, you're around the middle of the table, or probably tightening up right across the board, but Obviously, for you guys, you sort of position yourself to attack the second half of the year.
Yeah, well, I mean, this game, we lost to Ryan round 3. I circled it on the calendar. I said it's a game we've got to get back for sure. So I guess winning's more important than percentage. Is that right, Vossy?
Well, the percentage takes
care of itself.
It does.
Just keep winning.
It really does. But am I right in saying you don't play Langwarrin or Mornington on the way home, or Seaford?
No.
Okay, so basically, in terms of where you finish, your destiny's in your own hands.
Correct. Yeah, it's it definitely is in our own hands, mate. I think we play everyone beneath us on the run in.
And I suppose, even though it's a freezing cold day, what better place to go to than play down at Rye, the best ground on the peninsula, no doubt, in terms of the best surface down there. So it's a nice spot to go and play football, and we'll talk about the football today. We'll talk about it after the break. You're listening and watching the Punt Footy Show on RPPFM.
Do you feel good about your bank? Because there is a bank you can feel good about. They share their profits to fund big community projects, small community clubs, and vital emergency services. They've given $250 million to help Australian communities thrive. They have all the products and tech you expect from a big bank, with service you don't. It's Bendigo Bank. Feel good about who you bank with. Try Bendigo. Search bendigobank.com.au or search Bendigo Bank near me.
More and more people with a taste for quality are shopping at Eliza Meats. Kevin and his lean team pride themselves on the finest cuts, from juicy steaks and roasts to high-grade mince and sausages. And Eliza Meats are the gourmet specialists. Inquire about Eliza Meats Spit Hire. Phone 9787 4473 for a mouth-watering meal fit for a king. It's all at Eliza Meats. See our sponsor Kevin at Eliza Meats, 112B Mount Eliza Way, a station sponsor.
Do you have TV antenna or reception issues? Need to wall mount your TV or want extra TV or data points? Then talk to TV Magic, Frankston and the Peninsula. TV Magic are your local TV and antenna specialists. We look after everything: TV, home theatre, satellite, plus all electrical work. Visit us at tvmagic.com.au or contact Clint for a free quote on 0484 395 555. TV Magic. We make all your TV problems disappear. A station sponsor.
Hi, this is just Malboy for RAD, recording artists, actors and athletes against drink driving. On stage, I love pushing the limits, but off stage, it's a different story. Get behind the wheel after you've been drinking, even if you're a little bit over and you're in real danger of causing a crash and possibly killing someone. That someone could be your best friend. So if you plan to have a few drinks at a gig, then plan for a designated driver who won't drink. You'll make the roads safer for everyone.
If you have a business on the Mornington Peninsula, or for that matter anywhere in the world, you need to advertise. So why not let Radio Port Phillip do it for you? Whatever your business, wherever you are, we can help you reach your target market. With a diverse range of programs, there is no one that we cannot reach. Our production team will design the perfect ad for your business, plus our competitive rates will enable you to run more ads than the opposition, giving your business the edge in your chosen profession. Interested? Contact the station on 5975 2650.
How could you not love Duke? Seriously, Mick. Welcome back to the RPP Punt Footy Show. He's going well, the boy, John Newcombe, of course, from Hawthorn. But we've got Brad Wiggy Kanavan, the Somerville coach, in the studio. How far are you guys off your best side at the moment?
It's a good question. I'm not sure we know exactly what our best side is. I've got Lockie Williams, Trav Bravo, young Junior Haskett who've been playing in the midfield, due back. There'll probably be another one or two sitting in that little bubble that I'm just trying to think now, but maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so winning without your full side last week makes the effort, I suppose, even better.
Bobby Grew's up in Queensland. He decided to go for a holiday on us. So, there's 4. There's 4 that I can tick off that would be in the senior side.
All right. Well, let's start with your game today. Rye playing Somerville down at Rye this afternoon. As I said, the RJ Rowley Reserve. It's a fantastic place to play football, and you guys get to go down there this afternoon and with I guess revenge on your mind after losing a game earlier in the year. That was your sponsors' day, I think. Was it sponsors' day or past players' day? You had a special day that day.
Did we?
I'm pretty sure
Since
you did.
Good Vossy, that's a long time ago.
I'm pretty sure it was sponsors or past players or something.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So it's a day that you said just before, you've circled it in the calendar. You want this win.
Yeah,
look, this win.
Yeah, well, Rye were fantastic. Obviously, early in the season, up and about, and it was very close till 3/4 time. They kicked 6 on us in the last quarter and ran over the top of us. I think it was about a 20-point margin in the end, but it was probably the way they did it which annoyed me more than anything. With it, the way we responded to their midfield work, and they dominated that mid-third in that last quarter. And I mean, it's a big challenge for us going down there today because obviously what happened last week, getting our boys up for that and getting a win, and going to Rye today to avoid that drop off is really important. So I guess the biggest positive for us going to Rye today is the team stability. It's just one out, one in, and that'll help. And but yeah, Rye, they've still got having a look at their list, and still some good players. Their midfield's still very strong. Kalani Ryan and Oscar Whitty and Hill running around in the middle have been tremendous for them, and Strickland off half back. He's been outstanding all year, and Capkin up forward. I mean, he's run and jump at the footy, and I don't think there's a guy who marks the footy at a higher point in the comp than Capkin. So, and little Hughesy at his feet. So we'll have our work cut out. So hopefully we've got our matchups right. And
they're still in the mix too. Like they can obviously they're only a game plus a little bit of percentage. I want to say a little bit, 7.5% or so behind Devon Meadows in 5th. So you'd think 8th, you're a long way out of it. Well, they're not. So a win today and they're sort of back in it too.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, from us to Seaford to a lesser extent, but I think from our position, 4th down to 8th, every team would still think finals.
Yeah, look, there's certainly a few sides certainly in that mix. Mick, a tip on that?
I think this is going to be a great game, and just being in the studio with Brad here, you can see he's really keen on this day, and I think he's going to have wound his players up. I think Somerville will get a close win today, Vossy.
Yeah, I think Somerville will win this afternoon. Well, this mob definitely does have a past players day today. It's Mornington versus Hastings is the next game. Mornington sitting in 2nd, Hastings sitting in 7th. Like Rye, percentage of under 100 points, but got the 5 wins on the board. So still an opportunity for them if they can get the job done this afternoon. But hard to read Hastings' form a little bit. Like obviously that was a game last week. They kicked 5 in the 3rd quarter, but nothing in the last quarter against Tybe. Tybe obviously a bit better last week. But Hastings at their best could maybe give Mornington a bit of a challenge today.
Yeah, I'd expect that, at their best footy would definitely push Mornington at stages today. I just think Mornington with the recent ins has really strengthened them up, and they're probably maybe the team out of all the teams at the moment to keep a close eye on, and they're the close watch. I think they'll be too strong for Hastings at Mornington. Is that Mornington?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, at Mornington on their little ground there. So yeah, Hastings' best players are just going to have to play absolutely at their best. If their best 6 or 8 can have great games, then that'll challenge Mornington. Otherwise, Mornington will be too strong.
Mornington for mine.
Mornington for me too.
Crip Point against Seaford. Obviously, Seaford going to this game on a back of a loss and probably pretty hot favourites. But it's a ground that you probably don't really want to go to in the middle of winter because having played there as a kid, and obviously things change a lot. But it's a ground that can get very wet very quickly at Crib Point. It's a dangerous ground to be going at, but you'd think Seaford should get the job done this afternoon.
Yeah, you'd think Seaford a little bit too strong, but like what they're doing down at Cribby, they've there's definitely some good positive signs, and that's for their club, but it's also good for the comp that the teams who have been struggling away a little bit are showing some signs of life, and it keeps you on your toes as coaches, and the teams who are up the top end of the ladder, you just can't relax. So I think Cribby will give them a bit of a fight, but Seaford a bit strong in the end.
Saw during the week, Steve Hamill said he's enjoying his coaching as much as he ever has, despite the sort of win-loss struggles he's had. A man who's had, obviously, premiership success as a coach, so that's a really positive sign. They couldn't have a better guy in the chair there, but I think Seaford will be too good, Vossy.
Yeah, they should be. Now, this is a huge game, this one. Devon Meadows and Chelsea, it's a huge game because, obviously, Devon Meadows are half a game clear of Chelsea. and also the fact that Hastings are playing second and Rye are playing fourth on the ladder. And if Hastings and Rye both lose, the winner of this is obviously in the 5. Chelsea would be in by half a game, and Devon Meadows could be in by as much as 6 points. So it's a huge game, this one, Week.
Capital letters, huge. It's match of the day, isn't it, somewhere?
Definitely the match of the day in Division 2 this afternoon.
2, yeah. Oh, look, yeah, it's a maybe they go a draw again, Chelsea. Devon very hard to beat out there. They grow another leg out there, Devon. So just Chelsea's top end talent still really intrigues me, interests me. I find them hard to match up on when we're doing our previews against Chelsea. Yeah, I'll go draw.
I'll be checking the scores closely if it looks like it's going to be a draw again. I think at home, like you said, Devon grow an extra leg there, so I think they'll be close.
I think Devon might win at home. 2 more games to get through. Langwarrin versus Coringal. Langwarrin obviously coming off a loss last week, and Coringal, well, coming off what they think was a victory, but officially is a draw at the moment. But not the ideal time to come up against the giant of the competition, if you like, after a loss week.
No, it'd be interesting to see the response from the Langy boys. So, yeah, tough day at the office, I'd
You'd think
say.
that response would be pretty strong,
Yeah.
Vossy. I would think so.
Vossy might have gone out and watched training during the week just to get a bit of an insight and have a look at them and see what they train like. So,
they're very well led down there, Josh and Blake the Snake, of course. Josh, a lot of time for Josh as a person and a coach. Actually, he's fantastic, I reckon, for local football. But yeah, I think Langwarrin will win this one easily this afternoon. Personally, what do you think, boys?
Same. Yep.
And the final game of the round, Pearcedale versus Tyab, and this is at Pearcedale. Pearcedale, even though they're sitting at 3 and 7, they're going along, as we touched on earlier. They're going along okay, and I dare say they'll probably make it their 4th win this afternoon.
I think it's harsh, but I think they'll be looking to cash in today. And as you said, Wiggy Boris is doing a good job down there, and I don't think they'll let this opportunity pass them by.
No, they got he's doing a fantastic job, and it's good to see. I mean, you could say coach is doing a fantastic job, but it's good to see the system and the buy-ins there as well, because that's also the important signs for the club to see that. And as a league, you'd look at it, and the league should be happy to see that growth down there as well. So, yeah, I think Tyab obviously showed a little bit last week against Hastings. The form line's not too bad there, so I think it'll be a close game. But Pearcedale at home.
Apparently, you've got a good head for radio.
Who is on this phone?
John Mason's watching.
Hey, you're kidding, eh? Where's the camera? You're joking, John. Hey? He's a good man, John.
He is a ripper man. Don't worry about that. And
good stats man too. He was spot on the other week with the stats.
We love having you in the studio. Look, good luck to your boys today. And obviously you've had a fantastic win last week, but letdown is something that can happen with sides. Obviously, you've got to guard against that. You're playing against a Rye side that's desperate as well. Good luck today.
Yep.
And hopefully we'll catch you in the studio later in the year.
Thanks, Vossy. Thanks, Mick.
Thanks, Wiggy.
We're going to go straight to Nathan Harris. Are we on the phone from AFL Southeast? Yes, we are. Good morning, Nathan.
Good morning, boys. How are we?
Thanks, Wig. Hey, boys. It's very well. Sorry, Nathan. We're just sending one of our guests off this morning. Now, you're on to tell us about the Interleague Championships that are on this weekend.
That's correct, mate. We had round 1 earlier on during the midweek on a Wednesday, so we had some fantastic games played there, and we've got round 2 coming up tomorrow. So we've got 3 different grounds and many games across those venues for the boys and girls to put their best foot forward.
I happened to be wandering past. There was games at Frankston Skybus Stadium during the week, I think, Nathan, was that right?
Yes, mate. Yes, I was there for those 4 games, so we had some rippers. So in that fixtured game, we had the 15 girls in the morning, and we had followed that up with the FDJ playing SDJ in the under-13 space, with both the under-16s and under-17s, FDJ playing MPJ following those 2. So the last game finishing up the lights. was a fantastic game. It was probably the showcase game of the round, really, I would have thought.
And the sun was shining during the day. It looked like there was a reasonable crowd there too. So a distant memory for me, but playing interleague, such a fantastic reward and has so much excitement attached for young players. And it just seemed like a terrific setting for those players to experience.
Yeah, it was. And I mean, given this was nearly 18 months, 2 years in the making for some of these kids with their first opportunity with COVID, and certainly I know I've never remembered a day in Frankston back end of June with no wind and sun shining. It was an amazing venue, it was an amazing setup, and these kids absolutely shone, and we had some amazing individual performances, but certainly the lens of this program is all around the development and showcasing the talent we have within these different leagues and different regions. And I mean, you look at the messaging from the coaches, it wasn't anything, it wasn't amazing game plans. They kept it simple, which was basic, the fundamentals, keep it clean. And I think that really allowed the kids to really showcase who they were individually and really able to buy in on a team environment. So I mean, from that angle, it was amazing to be there and be a part of it, see the families, see the kids and the supporters. Everyone was well behaved and we had great crowds. Everyone was doing the right thing just for the kids, because at the end of the day, this is all for the kids to showcase, and certainly having a number of, let's say, Stingray representatives there, keeping an eye on the talent within the regions across the 3 grounds. I think every kid's done themselves justice, and certainly the coaches as well. So games tomorrow, we've got two ovals down at Casey Fields. We've got Devon Meadows Junior Footy Club hosting games there, where we've got FCJ hosting Outer East, MPJ and SEJ across the under 13s, 14s and 15 girls and 18 girls. And then certainly we move on to Roy Dorr, the amazing new facility they've got there with Karen Pat Jr. They've got 3 games, which is probably, if you're looking at it, 15s, 16s and 17s. There'll be a lot of talent on show there. So looking forward to that one. I'll be there myself. And Rosebud Junior Footy Club will be hosting MPJ games against SEJ across the 15, 16, 17s and 18 girls. So we've got a wealth of talent. We're fortunate with the weather during the week. Obviously, it was a bit heavy overnight, but we see the sun out, so it might change the conditions and it might bring a few different players into the game tomorrow.
Nathan, it's obviously a great achievement by the kids to get as far as they have in terms of the level they've reached, but this is where the opportunity really does exist, because obviously you've got an opportunity to stand out amongst your players at that level, and then who knows where it can lead a few years down the track. Yeah, that's correct. And I know that Nick Cox and Toby Jedwab at the Dandenong Stingrays Pathway program, I mean, they've always got the eyes and ears, and they had a number of representatives across the venue. They're there keeping a close eye. Yep, certainly for, let's say, the 15-year-olds now moving into V-Line at the end of the year, where that'll almost start their pathway program into the Stingrays. The 16, 17-year-olds, they're also looking to try and buy their way into the program. But a lot of this is, we're trying to catch, the talent ones, let's say the ones at the top end, but certainly for those who are late developers, there are always still the angle of coming in late. As a 19th player in VFL, there are always options. I think the beauty of it is looking at these games, individuals shine, but the football, and especially I think what was really evident across the games at Frankston Park, the teams from a junior level, the teams that are able to play fast, but certainly the ones who are able to utilise and play the width of the ground to get the ball off the straight were really able to dominate games of footy. And by doing that, it really opened up the games for those, let's say, the lighter frame players on the wings and the half-forward flanks. I know, for example, Finn in the under, let's say Finn Emil Brennan is a FDJ kid in the under 17. A light frame, super athletic, super classy on a half-forward and a wing. He was really able to showcase his talent because the ball was able to get on the outside, and we're really able to utilise, let's say, those ones as well as those who are really contested beasts inside. So from that lens, certainly the talent's starting to show, and certainly it's a real pathway and a kicker for these kids to go forth. If it means they're going to become, from this program, going back to junior footy, they'll be the best players they can be at local level. If it means they'll make their way into the program at a NAB league level, that's fantastic, and hopefully there are some that might be able to go that little bit further. Nathan, thank you very much for joining us here on the RPP Toe Punt Footy Show this morning, and enjoy the weekend watching some good football.
Yep, can't wait. AFL South East, loving the footy at the moment. I mean, it's good just to have the kids back out on the park.
Fantastic.
We'll take a break on the. Thanks, Nathan. We'll take a break on the RPP Toe Punt Footy Show, and we'll be back with the juggernaut that is Volatile Vossy. Back soon.
Do you feel good about your bank? Because there is a bank you can feel good about. They share their profits to fund big community projects, small community clubs, and vital emergency services. They've given $250 million to help Australian communities thrive. They have all the products and tech you expect from a big bank, with service you don't. It's Bendigo Bank. Feel good about who you bank with. Try Bendigo. Search bendigobank.com.au or search Bendigo Bank near me.
Do you have TV antenna or reception issues? Need to wall mount your TV or want extra TV or data points? Then talk to TV Magic, Frankston and the Peninsula. TV Magic are your local TV and antenna specialists. We look after everything: TV, home theatre, satellite, plus all electrical work. Visit us at tvmagic.com.au or contact Clint for a free quote on 0484 395 555. TV Magic. We make all your TV problems disappear. A station sponsor.
More and more people with a taste for quality are shopping at Eliza Meats. Kevin and his lean team pride themselves on the finest cuts, from juicy steaks and roasts to high-grade mince and sausages. And Eliza Meats are the gourmet specialists. Inquire about Eliza Meats Spit Hire. Phone 9787 4473 for a mouth-watering meal fit for a king. It's all at Eliza Meats. See our sponsor Kevin at Eliza Meats, 112B Mount Eliza Way, a station sponsor.
Welcome back to the RPP Toe Punt Footy Show, live here in the studios this morning. Have you got an intro for us, Craig? Or no? You haven't got an intro for us? Well, it is time for the segment you've all been waiting for, and that is Volatile Vossy. And I'll just warn your listeners, this can go a little bit off tap this morning in terms of how you might sort of go with this. But anyhow, Volatile Vossy this morning. A few things on my mind, looking straight down the camera. A few weeks ago I touched on being down the local car park, pub car park, trying to put some footy tips on and people skateboarding through the car park. Well, not only one, it's now an extended group, and they just feel as though they have the right to come through the car park. 200 or 300 cars in the car parking area, and they're skateboarding through, not even looking either way as to where they're going. Absolutely. These are the brains of society. These are the futures of tomorrow. This is mind-boggling. Absolutely mind-boggling. I'll tell you what is also mind-boggling. We've had coon cheese. We've had golden daytime ice creams. We've had all kinds of that political correctness stuff. Social media went into a storm this week. Adults, should they ask their toddlers to change their nappies? My God, where in the hell in the world are these people getting their ideas from? I'll leave that one alone. But the one I really wanted to touch on this morning, been out walking quite a bit this week, and you park your car somewhere, you walk along, and what do I see? Dirty, disgusting masks on the ground. People not binning them, they're just leaving them on the ground, and they're asking people to come along and pick them up. People, mask. You wear it over here, you wear it over your nose. You don't wear it down here, and when you finish with it, put it in the bin. Don't leave it on the ground. It's disgusting, and I wouldn't want to touch it straight after. This is the world we're living in, and this is the world of all these rocket scientists that we're living with at the moment. Boy, oh boy, people, get your act together. Seriously.
Well, Vossy, you've wound up for that one. The skateboarding, that's the second time you've mentioned that. There is that term to say that if you can't beat them, join them. Is there any chance that you might get on a deck yourself?
No. But like I said, they're charging through the car parks, and they come out of nowhere. They don't look. They're asking to be hit, and then their parents would sort of go, well, why did you hit my son? Why did you hit my daughter? Whatever. It's like, seriously. It's absolutely idiotic what some of these people are doing. But seriously, the nappy thing and the mask thing. Oh, that's just out of this world in terms of seriously, people. Look, That's it for us this morning. Thanks, Crago, for pushing the buttons. Thanks, Mick. Thanks to Brad Canavan, Wiggy. Thanks to, for the Somerville coach. Thanks to Cole Hutchinson. Thanks to Nathan Harris from AFL Southeast. I'm Michael Voss. This afternoon we'll be on air live. Frankston Bombers versus Frankston YCW. It's going to be a great game in Division 1. It's the TV Magic Match of the day. We'll speak to you then. In the meantime, it's time for The Locker Room. Thanks for listening.
The Frankston boys are happy.
The new VFL competition is here. Hi, I'm Josh Newman, club captain at the Frankston Football Club. It's time to become a member for season 2021. Come and be a part of it as we join this new and highly competitive 22-team VFL competition. Take out a membership today and support Frankston and the Peninsula's premier standalone AFL team. We're pumped up and ready to play. Visit our website at www